I guess my screen is visible, right? Anyone can confirm?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, hi, good morning, all. Welcome to Goa Mules of Meter. Today's topic is going to be understanding Salesforce composite request and composite batch connector and their use case. And before diving into actual topic, let me introduce Goa Mules of Meetup leaders. So myself, Vandana Gowda. I'm a senior software engineer at Gensa Technologies, and I'm also a MuleSoft mentor as well as a Goa Meetup leader. And we have Vinay Kumar. Vinay Kumar also a senior software engineer at Provis Software, and he's also MuleSoft mentor as well as Goa Meetup leader. And we have Gaurav Dubey. He is a senior architect at Capgemini Australia, and he is a MuleSoft mentor, Meetup leader, and 2025 ambassador. And it's time to introduce our speaker. So we have Nasim Khan. Nasim Khan, he maybe it's a second time he's speaking for Goa MuleSoft Meetup. And please introduce yourself to audience, Nasim.
Yeah. Thanks, Vandana. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining. So, yeah, myself, Naseem Khan. So, I'm having 14 plus years of IT experience. And as far as MuleSoft is concerned, so I'm having 8 plus years of experience in MuleSoft ESB. So currently, I am working as a technology architect in Cognizant. So it's been almost 5 years with Cognizant. So before that, yeah, I was working for Commercial Bank of Dubai and previous companies in Dubai. So I'm a MuleSoft mentor as well, and I'm having multiple certifications of MuleSoft and Salesforce. So yeah, today I'll be speaking on the Salesforce Composite Connector. Yeah,
Thank you so much, Nasim. So you can share your screen and start the agenda.
sure.
Start. Yeah, yes, it's visible.
Okay. So So we already covered this introduction. So yeah, so today's agenda is I'll be talking about Salesforce Composite Connector, and in that Salesforce Composite Connector, I'll be talking about two things, that is composite batch and request, and I'll show how to configure and how to connect MuleSoft with Salesforce and with the authentications, and I'll show the demo. I mean, I'll demonstrate how to integrate mm, with the using of this Salesforce Composite Connector, and I'll be showcasing account object and contact objects for inserting, updating, or deleting the records. Yeah. So now we'll get started. So first, I mean, I think most of the you guys already knows about this Salesforce integrations and various Salesforce connector, right? So the standalone connector like query and upsert connectors. So this is completely different from the normal standard connectors. So for this also, I mean, we need to add the dependency in into the POM. So if we don't have in our palette, so we need to add dependencies from the exchange, and then the composite connector will be available for use, right? So first, what is Salesforce composite connector? So actually this endpoint, connector for Salesforce composite, that helps us to work with Salesforce batch and object trees API. So this connector actually exposes a convenient method for preparing, multiple requests, executing them in one batch, or parsing the results, right? So we can use the output of the previous request as an input to the subsequent request as well. So in Salesforce Composite Connector also, allow us to create as object tree by using create tree operations, which is separate from the batch operations. So in that one, we'll have two things: the batch request and the composite request. So in composite request, we will rely we'll rely on the previous request, and we can use the output of as an input to the next request, right? And in the batch request, it's just executing the standalone but multiple requests in one single API call. So the advantages and why we should use this composite connector. So it can be used in, in complex integrations, like suppose uh, we have an account, right? So that account is associated with a contact and opportunity object. So if I need to upsert, I need to update anything, suppose any ID or zip code into this account object, and the subsequent, I mean the same account ID, I need to update the phone number in the contact object. So if we don't have this composite connectors, we can achieve this by standard connector as well, but we'll have to hit two times. We'll have to make two requests, separate request to the Salesforce, in order to achieve our goal for account to update the account and update the contact object. But instead of these, making two requests, so we can achieve this in a single request as well using this composite connector. And there might be a scenario that if suppose account object and contact objects, the account is associated with a particular contact, and we are making two calls to update both objects. So let's assume that if account object is failed and the next request is for contact objects, and I don't want to execute the next request until and unless the first one is successful. So we need to make the transaction management, right, if it is not provided by the in the standard connector. So in composite connector, it comes inbuilt, and transaction management is being taken care by the connector itself. Only we need to add this all or none, the keyword as true or false, it's a boolean. So if we make it true, it means if the suppose any of the suppose 20, if we are making 20 calls in a single 20 sub request in a single call, if any one is failed, it will all roll back everything, I mean whichever is successful also it will get rolled back. And by default the value of this all or none is false. So if it is false, then irrespective of any transaction is failed or not, it will execute the next request and it will process. So and in this one, in a single call, we can make as much as 25 sub requests in a single call. So suppose if we have 50 requests we need to make, so we can segregate in two chunks and it will get executed twice. Yeah. So until here, any questions, anyone?
Until no questions.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the next questions, I mean, comes into our mind that how it gets authenticated. So Salesforce Composite Connector provides various types of authentications mechanism to connect to the respective Salesforce account. So we have OAuth 2.0 and JWT and SAML, and the fourth one is using username and password. So in this one, I'll showcasing the fourth one with the username and password. So apart from the username and password, we'll have to provide the consumer key and consumer secret. So other fields are also we need to provide, and we can get it from the Salesforce profile itself. So this was about this authentication type. So as I talked about the in composite connector, we'll talk about two separate modules, that is composite request. So in composite requests, yeah, it is again it as I told you, it is relied on the previous requests. So it is the series of API calls in a single request. Suppose we are having 20 sub requests in a single call, and we can use the output of the previous call as an input to the subsequent request, right? So suppose if we have account and contact object which is associated with each other, so if we are inserting any account, any record into the account object, So we'll get the ID, the Salesforce unique ID will get generated, and based on that ID, we can pass into the contact object and we can create the contact. So that contact is can be associated with the respective account, right? So as I told you, we can have up to 25 sub requests in a single call. So if we have the use case that in which we need to execute more than 50 requests, or so let's say 75 requests, so we can segregate, we can into the chunks. So the value would be the 25 sub requests in each call, so it will have 3 execution for those 75 requests. So that can be segregated into this data weave using the data weave language. And the next one is batch. It's similar to batch operations. Like it is not dependent on the any requests. It is getting executed standalone, irrespective of the previous calls is successful or not. But yeah, this composite batch, it can be, we can have all methods like get, post, delete, patch in order to update. So the basic difference, you can say, okay, the basic difference of composite batch and request is a dependency between the requests, right? So composite batch, composite request, we have the dependency. We can use the output of the in any request in as an input to the sub request, right? But in composite batch, it's not like that. It runs independently, right? So it can also be used in any complex or interconnected operations. So this is also a very useful connector. So composite batch and composite requests we have talked about. So we'll see the hands-on. So any questions in composite batch and requests authentication types?
We have one question, Nasim.
Yes, please.
Um, in the 25 sub request, if the third request from the list failed to
Mhm.
insert, then we will be inserting the rest of transaction or it will be rolled back.
So in the request, when we are sending the JSON request to the Salesforce, we have one keyword like all or none. All or none, if it's true, then irrespective of if any of the sub request is failed, so all transactions will get rolled back. And all or none is false, then if third request or any of the request is failed, it doesn't matter. It will execute the other requests. So it depends on the that keyword. If we need to maintain the transaction management, we need to send this field as true. Otherwise it will be default value will be false.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Nasim.
yeah, thank you. So yeah, I'll be now showcasing this thing. We need to create the Salesforce account. If we don't have, we need to sign up. Okay. And once we are signing up this in this into the Salesforce, so we need to just note down the user ID and password that will be useful, that will be used in the Salesforce connector configurations. Okay. So first I'll show, if you don't have this Salesforce composite connector in your palette, then you need to install the dependency using the exchange, and then it will be available for use. So in Salesforce composite connector, if as you can say, uh, it's multiple connectors are available for use. So we'll be using this execute composite batch and execute composite request. Okay. So in order to execute this, we need to first configure this Salesforce composite connector. So once we open it, so I'll be using this auth username and password, this authentication type. So consumer key, first one, consumer key we will get from, once we have this, uh, account. So we'll go to setup, into the classic mode. So in apps, I have already created this. So first, if we don't create, I mean, suppose if first we need to create the connected apps. So we need to just put the name, API name, or be anything, and connected email. Email should be the same which you have registered, because we'll be getting the SSO, I mean token, OTP, in order to see the consumer key and uh, consumer secret. So once we put these values, then we'll have to click on save. So I have already created this Mule API connected apps. So manage consumer details in order to get the consumer key and secret. So it is, the password is being sent. Zero. Okay. So this consumer key and secret we need to copy. It's already copied. D341, D341. Yeah, it's copied. So consumer key, we'll have to just paste the consumer key which was in, which we have just copied from the manage consumer details, and secret as well. Username would be the same when you are signing up. So the same username you need to mention here, and password is the same password, right? And token endpoint is until this salesforce.com, this URL appending with services OAuth2 token. So these are the details we need to add in this configurations. And first, I mean, once you are done with this, we can test this connections as if it is getting connected to our respective Salesforce account. Yeah, test connection successful. So this Salesforce configuration, connector configuration is done. So now yeah, I've just created a simple applications where we have HTTP listeners. It is listening, and then it is just a request. And here I have two subflows. One is for two choice routers. One is for composite request, and the other one is for composite batch. So how I'm getting it segregated, like if payload has this composite request attributes, then it will execute composite request. It will go to composite batch. Okay, so first I'll show you the objects into Salesforce. So we have, as we know, right, we have multiple objects, standard objects, custom objects also we can use. We can create objects, custom objects, and internal. So I'll be showcasing this accounts objects and this contact objects. So as of now, I have just created this account name with Mohammed Naseem Khan, and this, it is associated with this contact. So I have created contact name as Khan, which is linked with that account number, that account ID, right? So I'll be inserting first, then I'll be retrieving, and then deleting. So three things I'll be showcasing. So let me just execute this, run this application. And I'll be showcasing both transaction management with true and false, that all or none. let's say first we'll create. So for patch, we need to provide the account ID, means which ID we need to update. But for post, it does it. It's not required. So if you see here, uh, this is the composite request, right? And in composite requests, as I already explained, that we can use the output of one object to the as an input of next object, right? Next. So here, if you see reference ID I have given. So reference ID, so means the output of this request will be stored into this ID. And once this account is created with the name of Vandana, so now our next request is to create the contact. So contact is and this contact will be I know I want to get it associated with the account ID which is just being created, right? So that's why we have given account ref dot id, means the account ID will be the output of this ID. Once it is created, then this one will get executed. So here I am not having anything, all or none keyword, right? Yeah, it's deployed. So as of now, we have only one contact and one account, right? So let's execute this. Yeah. So the composite response is ID is created. This ID is created. Status code is 201. This is the reference ID. And this is for contact. So this is also created with the ID, this one. And if we go to Salesforce, Vandana account name is created, and this contact is also created, right? Now let's say now I'm updating the in account we need to update phone number. So in order to execute the patch, we need to provide the ID. Okay. So your next question would be how to get the ID, right? So I'll show, I mean, if any particular account will have the query select ID from object where name or something is whatever this SQL query. So it would be the similar ways. So I'll be updating this with phone number, and contact email would be email. Okay, phone number and email. Let's say emails. Okay, so the second request should be failed. So if you see, it is successful because we have not added this all on so by default it's false, so no transaction management. So first one is updated. If you see the phone number of this account, it's updated, right? But the email ID is not updated because we have deliberately given the field name as emails. So it should be email. So the second request is failed, right? And the first one is successful. So I'll show you the, so now let's say, hmm, again I am trying to update the phone number and the email, but for this email I have given the wrong field name. So now it should not be updated because we have given this all or none as true, means all should be successful or none. So it will get rolled back. So if I send the request, processing halted. So the first one is successful but still processing halted because of this. So if we see here the output, the phone number is still this, right? So now I'll just make it correct. So 204 204. Email is updated, phone number is also updated, right? And if we need to delete, body is not required in delete one, but ID is required because which ID needs to be deleted, that needs to be mentioned here. Okay, so if you see here, why it's not deleted, because this, if we delete this account, so the contact associated with the account is already deleted, so we don't need this one, because if we delete this account, so the associated contact for this account ID you get also deleted. So 204, if we see here, account Vandana Gowda is deleted and the associated contact is also deleted. Okay, so let's say again we'll create and then we'll show you the composite batch. Post. Unable to create update post. Field's name. Ah, okay. Name was not there. Okay, now it's created. Hmm. So there are multiple accounts got created. So now we'll see. We have seen this update, post, patch, and delete, right? So now we'll see the batch request. So in batch request, as I already explained that we don't have this transaction management, so it's standalone. All sub requests will get executed, right? So let's say will be retrieving the number of accounts on contacts. So select ID name. We can give the column name, and we'll get the we'll retrieve from the account, and select ID name. Let's say email from contact. So this is the batch request. So it will in this batch request also we can use multiple methods, right? Post, delete, batch. So I'm just showing this to get the number of accounts which is already created. So total size is 12. So these are all already created. So one then yeah. So we can get the ID. So total 12 records are there in the account objects, and in the contact we have 13 records. So this is to just we can, let's say we just need to know the ID of where name is Naseem Khan. Let's say total size is 1. So name and billing postal code is retrieved, right, from account where ID equals to this. So it returned only one record, but contact still we are retrieving all. Select ID email from contact, that is coming. I mean all records would be retrieved. So here, if I show you, let's say so this is it's not dependent on the previous one. So as you see, the first one is successful, so it retrieved ID name from account where ID equals to this, and this query is not valid query because contacts object is not, it doesn't exist, so it is showing the invalid type. Okay, so if you want to do this right now, please do it, and let me know, I mean, if you are able to get all the information. So in this one I have written an article as well, so where I think this is the critical one. When you get these details like consumer key, secret, and token endpoint, so it is already mentioned all the steps here. So if you still, I mean, there is this error, you will definitely, I mean, you will come across with this error. So with for this one you need to just follow this steps. So enable just allow auth username and password flows. So that will get your connections as successful. So if you want to do it right now, yeah, it's you can do it anyone if you want. And I think, yeah, if you have any questions and concerns, yeah, please let me know. I'll be just taking those. So the JSON request would be like this. In batch request, it starts with batch request attributes, and then it is having an array. And in array, we can have multiple elements, right? And in composite request, we'll have composite requests, and then it is also the type of array, and then we can have multiple child elements requests.
And we have one question, Nasim.
Yeah.
Like, what is the most commonly used authentication in this project scenario?
JWT, I think it is widely used, but we have used username and password as well. If we have, this deployment model, different deployment model, so we have used in our project a username and password as well, because this consumer key and secret and token endpoint, which is also very, you know uh, confidential, so that is also being used. So username and password and JWT, so these are the two authentication types which is being used in most of the projects widely.
Anyone have any questions? You can unmute yourself and you can ask, or you can put it in a chat.
Okay. Yeah, so real-time business use case. So if you are doing any, Salesforce integrations, so we have actually in our last project as well. So we have the opportunity objects that was associated with the respective accounts. So in that one, first we used to get the account ID for to update the opportunity from the MDM system. If you know, the MDM source system was there. So from MDM, we were getting this source data. So based on the account ID, we used to update the opportunity status and opportunity details. So suppose, I mean, we used to get, the data from MDM in the tables, like multiple records at the same time. So if we have this, I mean, API led connectivity, of course, so we were getting the data, and then suppose 25 requests are there, then we used to make, we don't want to make, multiple calls for the same requests with different IDs. So we have implemented that composite connector there. So we used to get those data and segregated the ID, and when then binding with the JSON request and making 25 requests per call, and then updating the opportunity based on that account. So if we are working on different, even custom objects as well, so that is also very useful. So in order to, save our bandwidth or save our traffic, so instead of making multiple calls for the same thing, we can bind the request into a single request, and then we can make use of it.
Hey Nazim, Sabri here.
Hi.
Instead of binding multiple sorry, instead of
creating. Yeah.
sending multiple
Mhm.
requests, we are binding into one request, right?
Yes.
As part of handling from the system, perspective,
Hmm.
it will be still handled in a single processor, isn't it?
Uh, I didn't get. Come again, please.
Okay.
Instead of.
When we are speaking of a composite request,
Yes.
first we are creating account,
Hmm.
followed with which we are creating
Let's
contact,
assume
right?
contact. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Why we are not doing in a reverse process, as in contact is
Hmm.
having one of the key field
Hmm.
which is associated to my account,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
my account ID.
Yeah.
But when we are pushing the request,
Hmm.
to me it is like a one single process. As a transaction, first I have to create a account, followed with which I have to create contact. When it
So
comes,
I got your point. So see, one account can have multiple contact. So this is the CRM. I mean, the structure. So one account may have multiple contacts. Like in the same way, one account may have different opportunity or leads. So first we need to create an account, or if you have certain objects which is like the primary key of that object would be the foreign key of subsequent objects. So it depends on the structure of the objects. So it's not
okay,
like, okay, we have to create obviously we have to create accounts first and then followed by the contact. So if we have certain custom objects which comes first, like one to many relations. So
okay, it
here
is all
account.
about the dependency
Correct,
hierarchy, right?
correct,
Okay,
correct, correct.
okay. And I have one more question with respect to processing multiple requests into one API.
Hmm.
Um, when we are invoking a property called all or none, right?
Yes, yes.
Let's say I have an account which needs to be created in Salesforce,
Hmm.
which has successfully went through. But when I am processing in the same request, in the matter of deletion, sorry, in the matter of creation,
Hmm.
if I face
For the
any
same
concern,
request.
yes,
Huh?
if I face any concern, how MuleFlow will handle from the flow processor perspective? Will it be having any interim object store to process all the information based on a successful router? Will it publish the specific API to Salesforce, or will it be taken care any action end from Salesforce?
Okay, so it's completely based on our custom implementation, because if you have seen this, we are sending this custom composite request, right? Multiple sub request in a single call. So if you have seen this, the response. So response would is also the composite response. So in composite response, we have all we have the results, and it contains all the respective request response. So we need to I mean, parse the response, and whichever is being failed, so how we are handling it's completely depend on our structure. So Salesforce connector is giving one by one equals to one response, one request, one response, right? But if we see that, suppose in this case we have two elements inside the results, and we have seen, suppose this one is false, right? So how we'll have to handle it depends on our architecture. And if we want to use this object store and all, we can, yeah, we are good to go. But it depends on our our design and structure. But Salesforce connector is nothing to do with this, because it gives one is to one, one request, one response
Okay.
inside the array. Yeah.
No, no. My question is all about we are defining the property so-called all or none, right?
Yes, yes.
Unless or until I do validate on the target end,
Hmm.
I can't confirm whether this process is whether this API response is successful or not.
Okay,
Those,
okay, okay. Hmm. So it's very, I mean, see, Let me just execute this. I'll show you. So you're saying it's difficult to eh, parse, okay, whether it is all successful or not, right?
Yes,
That is
correct.
your question. Okay. So yeah, we came across about this.
To add on, the changes partially will reflect in Salesforce as well, or will we be holding any image replication to make sure the target is not affected unless or until the result is successful?
Okay. So if you see here, we have this response, composite response, and errors is null, right? But here,
Mhm.
if you see, reference ID patch is not allowed, error code method not allowed. Still, if we get this 200 response, but if we copy this into data weave, we need to parse if that any elements has error. So only then we'll get to know, okay, whether it is successful or failed, any of the requests. So that's why they have given this. If we have that requirement, okay, either anyone is failed, then all transactions should be rolled back. So we are having this all or none. If we don't have that, I mean, requirements, so only way to get to know that for LEM composite response, and then we can filter the elements which is having this error code inside body.
Okay, to make it more simpler, I have a composite request.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
have to create account followed by
Contact.
contact. Yes,
Hmm.
I am, like passing this, or I am enabling this property all or none as
Hmm.
all.
Hmm.
So I can see in my first request with respect to the creation of contact object, I can able to create an account,
Hmm.
followed with which I have a subsequent request in the same API
Yes.
in order to create a contact object where I'm facing a failure response
Hmm.
for some reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, will there be any partial creation with respect to a single request just because I have, like successful
Yes.
response?
Yes.
Which,
Yes. So for that, uh, you need to get this first. Get the account ID. Okay. So which account ID you want to create a contact associated with that account ID? You just need to put here this account ID. Let's say I'll show you. I have created this one. Yeah. Hmm. NK I have created, but with that account ID, we don't have contact because it was failed, right? Here itself, because we have given this patch. So you need get account where
to add on, can you help to include the all or none property as well? Will it be possible for this demo?
all or none property is false, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it is default. If you don't mention all or none property attributes, it will take as false. Means default value is false. That's the reason why you see you have seen this nk is created, but the subsequent respective account contact is not created. You can see this. So if we don't pass all or none, it will take by default as false value.
Okay. What if
So
we pass right now? Will
okay,
it be? Will it be? Will it be okay for you?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
false you want to pass, right?
No, no, it should be true, right? Because by
True.
default it is taking false.
Okay, okay, yeah. So true. Then So last time it got created, right? NK was created. Now I am putting it NK1.
Okay.
Okay. So since I have added this, oh Lord, none. Oh Lord, none composite request. Mhm. Okay, O was. Hmm. So you can see first time when we didn't include this, the account got created, but contact was not created. So now you can see this processing halted for account object as well, because since another operation in the same transaction failed.
Okay, this is the question right now I
Hmm.
do have.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, in order to validate with respect to creation of account, I'm
Hmm.
not deliberately creating an account, but still I'm doing a mirror mapping with respect to validation whether that particular account creation can do throughput. And apart from that, like I do have a similar request in the same API call where I am validating from the mule perspective rather than like directly targeting at the source.
Okay.
Is
I
it
didn't get
correct?
actually. I didn't get your question. So in this case, you have, I think actually we
Okay.
are saying that account
Mhm.
is also not created
Mm.
because of this method, right? Because of this
Yes.
request. Hmm. So now
Because
what?
in our first request, if we go back to with respect to the creation of account and contact,
Hmm.
where we have received the API response was successful,
Hmm.
we could observe like in a similar pattern that account has to be created so that like account ID has to ingested in order to like validate the creation of contact object. Am I right?
Hmm. 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 Yes. Yes.
Unless or until we insert and then like we generate an account ID, we couldn't come to a conclusion that that particular contact object related like API response will be successful or not. Am I right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So following that, when we are enabling all or none, we are not actually inserting any data into the Salesforce
Salesforce.
account object. So
Yes.
in
Yes.
such cases, where will the validation will take place in a way? Will it be something like a catch performance so that like I will consume the data from Salesforce in a temp basis to validate against whatever the API request that I am ingesting as part of user request?
Hmm.
Once it is completely be successful, so that my object will replicate a similar request to ingest the similar data into Salesforce.
No. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Got your point. No. No. This there is no such way. So either I mean we have to provide this all or none. So in your else case, your question was if suppose NK1 is created but account was not. So in that case, you want to create only contact because this account is already created, right?
Yes,
NK1 is
correct.
already created. If we see here, but the respective contact is not created, right? So in that case, first we need to retrieve the account ID for this object, and then we just need to pass this account ID in contact body, so that the respective contact for the respective account will get created.
Okay. 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 I got
Yeah,
it. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you. Anyone else has any questions? I think you can send one unique key for each transactions and get the response back in minutes. So anyway, if we are uh, doing this, I think the best practice is to create a correlation ID for for each and every request, right? So if we this is the best
Yeah,
practice actually.
yeah. I think we can send the correlation ID to
Yeah,
uniquely
yeah,
identify each and
yeah,
every transaction.
yeah. So this is the I mean UUID or GUID. So that I mean, based on this correlation ID, we can trace.
Yeah,
We
I
can
think that
audit
would be
it.
the best practice.
Yeah. Correct. Anyone else has any questions?
Anyone have any question? Please let us know.